Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted associate of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, has denied that his highly discussed client list exists. The US Justice Department has released transcripts and audio.
Listen up, because this is the kind of scandal that has Hollywood, Buckingham Palace, and every gossip circle in between buzzing like never before. Meghan Markle, the woman who once painted herself as the ultimate survivor, the feminist icon, the outsider turned royal, might just be facing the downfall of her carefully built empire. For years, Meghan fought tooth and nail to control her own story. From her days as a B-list actress to becoming a duchess and then rebranding as Hollywood royalty, she made sure every headline screamed victim turned heroine. But now, all of that's hanging by the thinnest thread. Why? Because the name Ghislaine Maxwell, yes, the infamous right hand of Jeffrey Epstein, is now floating dangerously close to Meghan's orbit. Can you imagine? The most toxic scandal of our time, Epstein's nightmare world, now whispering connections with Meghan Markle? And here's where it gets wild. Insiders claim Maxwell herself referenced a so-called secret CV tied to Meghan, a CV that could unravel everything Meghan has worked to project.
He is serving a 20-year sentence for helping the late financier abuse young girls. During the interview, Ghislaine Maxwell was asked about President Trump, Bill Clinton, and Prince Andrew. She told Deputy Attorney General,
and buried inside that mysterious CV, one chilling phrase that's already set fire to headlines: playing the adult game. Now, honey, that's not just a cute little acting gig phrase. Number critics say it suggests something far darker, hinting at elite circles where ambition, charm, and compromise weren't just optional, they were currency. And Meghan, she's always insisted her rise was innocent, dignified, built on hard work. But if this adult game phrase is even half true, that polished image cracks wide open.
Saw President Trump in any inappropriate setting, and he was always cordial to her. She said that allegations about Prince Andrew were not true, and that this famous photo was fake, and that former President Bill Clinton was...
The gossip only gets juicier. Supposedly, this CV was passed around elite social circles like a golden ticket, a resume of sorts that framed Meghan as more than just an actress. And that's where her critics pounce. For years, they've accused her of climbing ladders using connections, whispers, and strategic networking before Harry ever entered the picture. If this document is real, Meghan's fairy tale actress swept off her feet by a prince narrative would crumble instantly. Even more shocking, whispers say Meghan may have personally known Virginia Giuffre, the very woman whose testimony took down Prince Andrew and dragged the royal family into Epstein's hellscape.
David Willis has the details.
Convicted of helping Jeffrey Epstein recruit, groom and abuse underage girls, nobody knows more of his dark secrets than Ghislaine Maxwell. Of interest to many, the French...
If Meghan did know Virginia before she married Harry, the questions get explosive. Did she already know about Andrew's involvement with Epstein's web of horrors? And if she did, why has she stayed silent all these years? Meghan has built her brand on being a truth teller, a fearless woman unafraid to call out powerful men. But if she had knowledge of Andrew's dirty dealings and said nothing, that pedestal collapses in an instant. And remember, legal teams digging into Epstein's network, they're already suggesting Meghan may have known more than she ever admitted.
A friendship, she insists, that was completely above board.
I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate...
And let's not forget Prince Andrew, already disgraced, stripped of duties and forever branded by scandal. His shadow still haunts the monarchy. If Meghan's name gets tied to that same circle, it drags her right into the darkest royal scandal in history. But here's the kicker. Meghan has always claimed she barely knew anything about the royal family before Harry. She painted herself as a wide-eyed outsider. Yet here she is, allegedly connected to the very scandal that brought the monarchy to its knees. Something doesn't add up, and the contradictions are fueling a wildfire. To make things worse, a judge recently denied the release of Epstein's grand jury files, sparking even more suspicion about what they're hiding.
In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman, in all respects.
The US Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, once Donald Trump's personal lawyer, also asked about reports of a so-called client list containing the names of Jeffrey Epstein's...
Critics argue those sealed files could contain names, connections, even documents that blow the lid off everything. And if Meghan's name shows up, even indirectly, the fallout would be catastrophic. Right now, her silence is deafening, and it's not helping her one bit. The Meghan Markle brand, once built on careful image control, is now dangling by the whims of court rulings, sealed files, and gossip dripping out of one of the most toxic scandals of our era. Maxwell's hints, from that adult game phrase to whispers of Meghan knowing Virginia, are tearing open doors Meghan desperately wanted locked.
And influential clientele.
There's been a lot of conversations about whether Mr. Epstein maintained like a list of people, like a book of...
And talk about bad timing. Meghan's reputation is already on life support after failed projects, sliding popularity, and endless cries of hypocrisy. But this Epstein-adjacent scandal, it's the one storm she cannot afford to face. Meghan's usual playbook has always been the same. Ignore the headlines, let her allies push back, and wait for the noise to fade. But this time, silence is poison. Every single day she refuses to address the allegations, the whispers get louder. Critics are screaming, if she has nothing to hide, why not just deny it? But her silence isn't coming across as strength anymore. It's starting to look like guilt.
Famous people that he knew, it's called a black book or a client list or a list. Did you know of the existence of any such list?
There is no list. We'll start with that.
And then there's Harry. Poor Harry. For him, this scandal is unbearable. He's already mocked as the spare. But now he's being painted as the clueless husband, either blind to Meghan's alleged past or, worse, complicit in covering it up. Headlines are brutal, branding him the man who gave up a crown for a yacht duchess. Insiders whisper that Harry's anger is boiling over behind closed doors. He's furious at being dragged into another humiliating mess. But what choice does he have? Defend Meghan and look complicit, or stay silent and look weak. Either way, Harry's the one losing.
Her only departure from the US government's summary of the case against Jeffrey Epstein, that instead of taking his own life, he was murdered whilst awaiting trial. As to Epstein's friendship with Prince Andrew, Ghislaine Maxwell dismissed.
If Meghan thought the public was going to rise up and defend her, she miscalculated badly. Social media has turned into a battlefield of mockery. Hashtags like Stalker Meghan Maxwell Files and our Duchess of Secrets are everywhere, painting her as a woman with too much to hide. TikTok users are splicing clips from her Oprah interview. Remember when she said, "I didn't really know much about the royal family," and slapping them next to headlines about her supposed ties to Virginia Giuffre? Twitter is roasting her as the Duchess of Denial, while Instagram memes mock her as the last standing player in that so-called adult game. And here's the cold, harsh truth. Once the internet turns you into a meme, you no longer control your own brand. The crowd does. And right now, the crowd is vicious.
The famous picture of the two of them together as a fake and denied that it was she who had initiated the royal friendship.
I would never have introduced them. It would never have occurred to me to introduce them. I couldn't imagine them being two chalk and cheeses.
But the damage doesn't stop at memes. Hollywood is watching too. And honey, it's brutal. Meghan and Harry's entire brand in Tinseltown was built on one thing: prestige. Their perceived power, their ability to draw attention. But now, the attention is toxic. Studios, producers, and big brands are quietly stepping away. Let's not forget, they already burned bridges with the Spotify disaster and their lackluster Netflix content. Now, with Meghan's name being whispered in the same breath as Epstein and Maxwell, it's too radioactive to touch. Behind the scenes, PR insiders are whispering that Meghan's phone calls are being ignored. Brands don't want to gamble on a woman whose reputation is swirling around the darkest scandal of our generation. In Hollywood, reputation is currency, and Meghan's is in free fall.
I mean, for real, there's nothing there to connect them. So he met Prince Andrew, and then he had a relationship. I don't like that word. It sounds funky. They had a
acquaintanceship.
Thank you.
Here's the problem. Meghan's brand rested on three very specific pillars. 1, the outsider narrative. I didn't know the royals. 2, the love story. Harry chose me and I chose love. And 3, the feminist humanitarian image, the modern-day Diana routine. But now, Maxwell's alleged revelations bulldoze through those pillars like a wrecking ball. If she knew Virginia, she wasn't the naive outsider. If she once had her eyes on William, as whispers suggest, the love story looks less like fate and more like strategy. And if she's tied, even by rumor, to Epstein's orbit, that humanitarian humanitarian image shatters into hypocrisy. And let's not forget, Meghan is reportedly threatening to sue. But suing Maxwell or anyone linked to her could drag Meghan right into the courtroom spotlight, the one place she absolutely doesn't want to be. History has already shown us, when Meghan pushes back too hard, investigators only push harder.
Hard supporters have long maintained that so-called deep state elites were protecting key Democratic Party figures such as Bill Clinton from association with Jeffrey Epstein. But Maxwell said she saw no evidence of wrongdoing on the part of the former president.
Now Meghan finds herself in a corner, her name brushing up against one of the darkest scandals of the century and her options shrinking by the second. Stay silent? She looks guilty. Threaten legal action? She risks exposing more. And the public? They're sick of the drama. Instead of sympathy, they're laughing. Savage, relentless laughter. Harry is humiliated, Hollywood is pulling back, and social media is merciless. This isn't just another bad headline. This could be the scandal that cements Meghan Markle's legacy forever, because make no mistake, her mask is slipping, and the world doesn't like what it sees underneath. And here's the million-dollar question. Should Meghan finally break her silence? Because let's be honest, silence now screams guilt. Every day she refuses to speak, the speculation grows louder, the whispers grow nastier, and her image collapses further. Some people say, yes, she must speak up, address Maxwell's claims head-on, and clear her name. Others argue she should keep quiet and pray the storm dies down, though clearly that strategy is already backfiring. So what do you think? Should Meghan Markle finally stand up and face this firestorm? Or should she stay in the shadows, hoping the flames burn out before they consume her? Because this right here could be the scandal that defines her forever. The Duchess, who styled herself as a feminist, a humanitarian, a victim turned survivor, now linked to one of the darkest sagas of our time. And let's not forget the next chapter. What about Harry? How does he survive being dragged into yet another humiliation, especially one tied to Epstein and Maxwell? Can their marriage withstand this level of shame? Or will Harry finally realize he's paying the price for secrets that were never his to begin with? One thing's clear, this isn't just gossip, it's the kind of scandal that ruins reputations, topples brands, and shatters carefully constructed fairy tales. And Meghan Markle? She's standing right at the edge. Standing right at the edge.